guys, so we are going to be getting into some of these essentially more updated benchmarks. And I have very good news about the whole thing. And you can probably tell by the frame time graph up in the corner that the frame time is significantly better. Here I'm just capping it at, I think I capped it at like 120 FPS, and just to let the FPS go wild and let the frame time go wild, just to kind of show what it's like. And when I didn't have it V-synced, it was not the smoothest experience in the world, but the moment I put back on V-sync and locked it to 60 FPS, I think I dropped down to 59 or 58 FPS, and my frame time graph looked really rather decent. I will probably skip ahead and show you guys what I mean. So as you can see here, I V-synced it to 60 FPS. I changed up the FPS counter, or I changed the maximum FPS allowed to 60, and then V-synced it. So now I can honestly say it is an incredibly smooth experience. The recording is getting a little bit jumbled up from recording a recording. But to put it bluntly, going from a 6-core running at 2.9 to a 4-core running at 3.5, it was much of a smoother experience. Now, yeah, as you can see from the frame time graph, which is the one closest to the bottom that's actually functioning, it is kind of stuttery. But being the fact that this is a 10-year-old CPU running on a Chinese motherboard, you kinda gotta take things with a grain of salt. And being that this was a $15 CPU on a $60 motherboard with $80 worth of RAM, which is an absolute absurd amount of RAM. I should not have gone 48 gigs. Every time that I've done these benchmarks, every time that I've looked at my statistics, every time that I've looked at the kind of stuff that this PC does, I look at it and I think I should not have gone with the 48 gigs of RAM because I have yet to touch it. But this is, I think I'm going to put this in the title, but this is only part one of what is going to be two additional benchmarks. There's going to be another part of benchmarks coming out. I have another CPU that I'm going to be getting, which is the x5690. Instead of going for the W and then needing to rebuy my RAM or change up my RAM, it was cheaper just to go with the x5690, which is going to be a $60 CPU. But say, for instance, you're looking at this as like a, well, is it worth the money? You go for an x56, either 77 or the x5690 with 24 gigs of RAM, ECC RAM, which should be about, I want to say $35 to $40, depending on where you buy it. It is not a bad combination, and yet again, this is an x5677 running at 3.5 gigahertz paired with a GTX 980 Ti, which is way overkill for this system. But it does not do bad. Surprisingly so. Like, yet again, I'm literally sitting here playing the Outer Worlds. Well, when I was recording this, I was playing the Outer Worlds. It works. And now, being that I'm having a faster CPU in the system, where it's not capped at 2.9, it's capped at 3.5, those extra 600 megahertz on a CPU core is phenomenally faster. It feels phenomenally faster. And when we go into the next benchmark of Destiny, it makes a drastic change to where the game goes from being it's alright to it's an actually good gaming experience. Now, yet again, that's kind of subjective depending on who you ask. Some people would say, oh, don't use an x58 system for gaming. Absolutely never ever, because it is a 10-year-old CPU that is lacking some of the more modern instruction sets. But yet again, I have a hard time saying that this is that this is not an option, because it very much is. And yet again, with people like Mr. Tech Yes from Tech Yes City, and well, honestly, there's quite a few different YouTube channels I can think about that are still using x58 systems. It's not bad, and especially when you actually get a properly clocked CPU for these Chinese motherboards, it works surprisingly well. Alrighty, so we got our next little benchmark of Destiny. Unfortunately, I was not able to get the frame times and the FPS counter to work on the OBS, or not on OBS, on not Firestrike, MSI Afterburner. I don't know where my brain is going tonight. Sorry, I've had a very long day today and my brain is just cooked. Alright, back to what I was saying. This is Destiny, obviously, and I have it V-synced, or not V-synced, but I have it frame capped at about 6 or 70 FPS, because I use a 75 hertz monitor, and I just try and get a smooth, super smooth experience. And right now, I am hopping into, well, PvP. Just kick it forward a little bit, so not just sitting there watching me load. And yet again, as you can see here, it is much smoother. It is significantly smoother than the first time that I was playing it. I know this is PvP and before I was doing PvE, but let me tell you, I've played this game in the last 2 days on my new CPU. I think I've played it for 10 hours in 2 days, being 5 hours each day, and I've put on some serious time on this thing, and with the new CPU, honestly, it is a better experience than what I got playing on the Xbox One, and honestly kind of comparable to my experience playing on the Xbox One, but yet again a little bit better. But with these basic updated, just a basic updated CPU, now not even going like a super expensive CPU, just a decent 4-core, this Chinese motherboard has surprised me again, and honestly, I have a hard time not recommending something like this. And yet again, if you're someone who is absolutely adamant about getting the newest, latest, and greatest, even if it is low grade, newest, latest, and greatest, I mean, hey, all's to ya, but stuff like this, stuff like the x58, x79, x99, high-end desktop, especially Intel stuff, it excites me. And that's probably my problem with like wanting to do these Chinese motherboards, wanting to do these older graphics cards. Um, it, it's this kind of stuff. This kind of stuff is why I love tech, not because of yet again the newest, latest, and greatest, but because of what you can take and what you can do with older technology. So I just wanted to finish up by saying thank you very much for watching, and if the only thing you were interested in was the x58 update, then you are more than welcome just to click off this video. If you guys don't mind, leaving me a like and possibly subscribing, because that would drastically help me out. And I'm very much leaning away from doing any more gaming content and leaning much closer to doing actual PC building content, because that's what honestly I've been enjoying that way more, and that's gotten way more views on my channel. Coming up in hopefully the next couple weeks, I have already started putting parts together for doing a complete fully custom PC. There is not going to be a single piece of that PC that I'm not going to have my hands on. It is going to be on the x58 system. It is not going to be using a Chinese board, though. To tell you the truth, I own 3 x58 boards, an MSI Eclipse, EVGA SLI LE, and an EVGA SLI revision 1.1. I'm going to be using the revision 1.1 for this upcoming build because it is probably my favorite with the way that it looks and the kind of connectivity it has. Also, I'm going to be pairing it with an older graphics card and a i7 960, simply because I want to be able to kind of give it the best chance it has. I have an i7 960 and an i7 930. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this build. I've got a few parts in mind that I would really like to see come about. One of them is an MSI Lightning R9290 or an R9290X, which I think would be really fun to have as a centerpiece of that PC. But yeah, this is just kind of me rambling on. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I'm very much hoping that this new build will attract a little bit more attention to my channel, and it'll bring some new eyes and some new visitors. Thank you very much for watching, and have a wonderful rest of your day.